Okay, so let's take a look and see what's going on for the astrology tomorrow for Mananas. It's the 10th, so 10/10. Okay, what do we got? Ooh. Uranus in the mix. Okay. So the moon enters Gemini and is conjoining Uranus, which is the Tower Moment planet. So this is probably going to manifest like a whirlwind of thoughts and feelings could kind of take you by surprise. And you might be surprised by how overwhelmed you feel. Okay, so deep breaths, ground yourself. Interestingly, you may not be as emotional as you thought or expected. Each thought, each memory and feeling could pass by in the blink of an eye kind of feeling. And although you won't be as turbulent, you may still feel slightly unhinged. Okay. So your best bet is to just acknowledge what's on your mind and heart to move through each instance as quickly as possible. So kind of a weird vibe kind of feel. Okay. A little chaotic. It's Uranus, so we can expect a little bit of chaos. Ugh. Anyway. All right. Let's pull some cards and let's see what's going on. Okay. All right, Spirit. What do we got? What do we need to know, please? What do we need to know? Hmm. What's going on? What's happening here? What's coming in the next 48 hours, please? Yeah, baby. Yeah. Ooh. All right. And the hits keep on coming. All right. Well, big day. For the main spread, we got nothing but major arcana. God help us. All right. What do we have? We have Scorpio, we have Gemini, Aquarius, Virgo, and Taurus. All right. So in the past position, we have the wheel reversed. Um, the Wheel of Fortune. I talk about it a lot because I hate it. It's divinely fated change, right? That comes in to kind of set us on our path. And you didn't manifest it, you didn't ask for it, and it definitely throws you for a loop. Now it is reversed. So this tells us that this was probably a pretty negative experience. Okay. You lost something, or you lost a job, or you lost a relationship that was really important to you. It didn't feel fair, and it wasn't fair, but it happened for a reason. That's in the past position. Okay. Now we have the Lovers. So there's a decision in a romantic situation that needs to be made here. Okay. Then we have the Star. So we're healing. We're healing from whatever tower moment has happened. We're healing from whatever decision needed to be made. And then we have the Hermit. So we're kind of going within and trying to process. Okay. Make sure that you're spending a lot of time in 5D. Make sure that you're spending a lot of time connecting with your higher self as you're kind of navigating through these changes. There's also something here in the overall energy. We have the Hierophant. Now, the Hierophant talks about tradition, commitment, marriage. And what's interesting to me, when I first learned to read tarot, I've told most of you have heard this, but when I first learned to read tarot, the main person that I learned from said, look at what the characters in the cards are looking at, and vice versa, what they're facing away from, because that's just going to give you, a little bit more information because they fall that way for a reason. So we have the Hierophant here, but the Queen of Swords is looking away from it, right? So there may be some sort of commitment or tradition situation that you're wanting to turn away from here. when Spirit is asking you to look at it closer. For the advice, we have the Three of Swords and the Page of Swords. So they're asking you to do some investigation into some sort of a painful ending. This is probably something that you'd rather not look at. This is probably something that you'd rather not deal with anymore, but there's a need for it. Probably because it's holding you hostage, like the energy of it is keeping you stuck in some manner. And your life is changing very rapidly with this amount of major arcana cards. And so there's a need to kind of deal with it, make peace with it for the final time. All right. Anything else that we need to know, please? If you want to clarify any of this shenanigans that we're looking at here. Yeah, death card. More majors. Yay. Interesting. So we have an ending, right? A transformation, but then we get the Two of Cups in the Sun. There's the love. There's the romance that all of us are looking for, right? There's the bliss, but we had to this ending, this moment of transition. But it's like as soon as you take the time to really look at whatever's been lost and you say goodbye to it and you recognize that it's in the past now, even if this is like we lost a card. Hold on, there it is. Yeah, there's the moon. More majors, Jesus. Even if this is like, you're still in a relationship or a marriage with somebody, but there's a need. In other words, like there's no breakup, right? And you're like, oh, Bree was wrong. Not necessarily. There may be some resentment that you're holding on to from the past here. And there needs to be kind of like this moment of confronting whatever has happened in the past and truly letting it go so that your relationship can continue, so that it can grow. Because that's what it feels like to me. It feels like we're holding on to some sort of pain, almost like a badge of honor of like, oh, I survived this, or, we overcame this, or da 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 da. Your happiness is right on the other side of that, but you need to say goodbye to it. You need to say goodbye to the pain of the past instead of holding on to it. And often we hold on to painful experiences because it's almost like that's how we identify ourselves. That's how we're able to differentiate. That's how we're able to say, I'm a survivor, or I've survived because this and this and this happened to me, and I still came out on top. Okay, but it's time for a new chapter now, It's time to stop defining ourselves by prior successes or prior losses. And that's how, you go through this death rebirth moment. There's the moon, the shadow, the feminine shadow. But this is how we get to the other side. This is how we get to the romance, to the commitment, to the happiest card in the deck, is by saying goodbye to what was so that we can start over, so that we truly can have a rebirth moment with the death card here. Is there anything else that we need to know? Six of Wands, top of the deck. So that's fame, victory, success. Some of you may find yourself surprisingly like in a relationship, especially if you're single. I'm only saying that because the Nine of Pentacles came out reversed, and that can be a sign. Like you're single, and then the next day you find your person and you're in a relationship. And as I say that, we get the Ten of Cups. But again, before all of this can come to fruition, before all of this can happen, before your next chapter can begin, you need to say goodbye. And most of it is not necessarily a person. I'm not giving you permission to send a text message to that ex, But I am asking you to say goodbye to that version of yourself. And I am asking you to say goodbye to that former identity that is attached to the job that you lost, or that role that you played that is now gone, or that version of your relationship, et cetera, et cetera. You need to say goodbye. So most of you know, a couple of years ago, I lost a baby, my one and only. And something I did for myself in the grief of that I'm forever grateful because I think it really helped me to process everything, was I wrote a letter to my body because I didn't want to hold anger to my physicality forever. And even when I was in the grips of all of this pain, I sat down and I wrote this letter to my body, and I thanked my body for allowing me to experience pregnancy and for allowing me to carry that baby for as long as it did. Because I know my body did the best that it could. I know that egg did the best that it could. And for whatever reason, just didn't work out. And that's what I'm talking about here. So write a letter. And you'll know, like, as you're sitting here listening to this and I'm talking about this, you will know exactly what that thing is that's holding you back. Your higher self is going to bring it up into your consciousness, okay? So whether this is something that happened in childhood, whether it's something that happened 10 minutes ago or 25 years ago, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. It's going to rise to the surface. Write a letter to that version of yourself that went through that survived that, but also let them know they are no longer needed. You got it from here. We need to close the chapter so that we can move on and find happiness in a bigger, better way, in a present way, not in the past kind of way. Okay? I hope this helps. Love you so much. Bye.